Now excited to be joined by a very special guest. It is Ari Wasserman. You can watch Andy and Ari Monday through Thursday, that is. And I know that's going to be changing up once the season starts. You guys will be going live late on Saturday nights as well. You've been all over the place lately. I know you were in Vegas for Big Ten Media Days. Before we get to some stuff that came out of that, tell us the backstory of how you convinced the Big Ten to have Media Days in Vegas.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was when I don't even know how many years ago it was. I don't know if you listen to the show, you know I've got no ability to recall anything that happened more than 20 minutes ago. But I was eating dinner with some people at the Athletic when I was there, and Commissioner Kevin Warren, and we were just joking about locations for the Big Ten championship game. And I'm like, why is it not in Vegas? Like, that's the greatest place to host an event. You know, and there's hotels within walking distance of the stadium, you know, gambling, all the things. And then funny enough, here we go. He thought it was funny. He thought I was joking. I wasn't kidding at all. But like, I think that it's conceivable that in the future that Big Ten championship game could be in Vegas. No, we just had media day there.
I blacked out after you said you had dinner with Kevin Warren. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. I think it was like 2020. I think it was before COVID. I can't remember. But yeah, we were joking about that. And, you know, it was before USC and UCLA were in the conference. So obviously that's changed a little bit in terms of the geographical implications of where things stand right now. But, you know, I think it could happen. I think it should happen. It's a great city. I love it there.
Yeah, there were certain people like James Franklin who maybe pushed back on that a little bit.
Bizarre, if I'm being honest. Like, what does he care? Like, I don't know. I thought, like, of all the things that you could be worried about, like the fact that, like, it was in. Listen, I'll give him. What he said was true. Like, it was in the Mandalay Bay Conference Center, and like, if you have been to media days in the past, like, they've got Big Ten stuff all over the lobby, and like, it's like an event there. Like in Vegas, it was just like, yeah, you're in the corner of the and the end of the strip at the end, and it wasn't really, you know, for anybody in the city, but you know, it's a convention. That's all it is. It's a convention, and it's to get the people talking. I just, like, of the things that a coach could care about, like where media days is, I thought was kind of low on the totem pole.
I've been to Big Ten Media Days in Chicago. It did not feel like a big event. I'll be 100% honest.
Well, I mean, when you walk into the hotel in Chicago, they've got like Big Ten signage everywhere, and like they make it like in the lobby and stuff. Like at Mandalay Bay, 80% of the people who stayed there last week had no idea Big Ten Media Days was happening there that day. Like,
true.
But again, don't know how that matters. But you know,
he kind of got dragged for saying, you know, that other conference, and Sankey, of course, had fun with that. But I've actually never agreed with James Franklin more than when he said the Big Ten's biggest mistake was going from 8 games to 9 conference games and doing that in 2016. Like, nobody talks about that. And I've been shouting that from the mountaintops forever, that the Big Ten didn't have to do that. It only did it because it wanted that TV contract. Did he feel like a voice of reason in a room that had a lot of, let's just call them chaotic opinions going on?
You know, I can't stand this scheduling discourse at all. And we've been doing it all summer. And it's like, so what, James? You know, the extra game against Northwestern is really going to, you know, kill your team. Like, the thing that is so funny to me about the SEC Big Ten dialogue is that, yeah, the SEC does play one less conference game. But how many Big Ten teams would, like, trade their schedule for the SEC counterpart? Like, you know, the SEC is, I thought, was overrated last year, but it's still, from top to bottom, probably a better league. And like, if you're easy games or South Carolina, who have 2 first-round draft picks on their team, and not like Northwestern, like, I think there's a big difference there. And also too, when it comes to the college football playoff discourse in general, Connor, you know this, like, the most important metric that exists in that entire discussion is who you beat. Even more than your loss column. And I know that the crazy lightning in a bottle Indiana season has caused this discussion, where a team happened to go 11-1 and, you know, get a good draw and have a weak non-conference schedule and get into the playoff. But that's not the usual path to getting in. And in fact, I don't know that we're going to see that very often from anybody. Indiana happened to be really good and also get a great draw in a year where people weren't expecting them to be good. Like, how often is that going to happen? Or how often are teams going to be that big of a surprise and have the benefit of Michigan and Washington stinking in the same year? Like, if Indiana didn't make the playoff last year, would we even be talking about this? So, like, it's just, you know, the SEC plays harder games top to bottom for the time being. I don't know if it's going to change with the way the sport's going now, but right now that's a fact. they play one less game. But there are certain teams in the Big Ten who are playing 9 conference games, and certain teams in the SEC who are playing 10 Power 4 opponents, and they both can be, equal. And what I do know is that if I were a coach, I would want my schedule to be as difficult as possible because A, you have more opportunity to get quality wins, which gets you into the field, and B, you are more forgiven for losses. The fact that we are so, locked in on Indiana making it, like the fact that Ole Miss and Alabama were even in the discussion last year is because they had good wins. And if you go look at the beginning of the college football playoff in 2014 to now, what's been the more typical path that you've seen? Teams being recognized for hard wins that have a shot to get in, or teams who had easy schedules that happen to get in? Teams have been recognized for harder wins and harder schedules far more than what happened with Indiana last year. And I feel like the entire country has lost the plot on that, and mostly because the commissioners are using it as a talking point to negotiate a future playoff system that is around the corner, and they're trying to use it as a pandering thing. And it's all nonsense. It really is. I can't stand when the Big Ten complains about it, and I can't stand when the SEC says they're going to play easier games. It's like, okay, Alabama, go play easier games, and then next year when you're 10-2, you're not even going to be considered, or 9-3, you're not even going to be considered because you didn't have any quality opponents on your team. It's all insane. Does that make sense?
No, it does, because I'm there with you.
It makes no sense. You need quality wins to be considered. Or you have to go 11-1. Who wants to go 11-1 against these schedules?
Exactly. And I felt like I had to sort of not excuse myself from the argument because I'm an Indiana grad. So last year, as this is all playing out, I'm thinking to myself, am I going to sound like a biased, loser, even though I've never pretended for one day in my life that I've truly been an Indiana football fan. Indiana basketball is a different story. But seeing the way that the situation played out, I'm like, all right, just treat this as neutral as you possibly can. Whose argument actually makes sense here? And does it end up feeling like both teams are kind of blowing hot air in this argument? After this offseason, those discussions, I kind of hate both arguments. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, also too, it is so funny to me because I love Kurt Cignetti. He's an awesome dude. We had him on the show a few times this past year, and it's just like, you're not the right messenger for the SEC. It's like, but at the same time, I understand why somebody in his position would want to say that because he spent the last 6 months hearing about how his team was inferior. But not the right timing either, a week after removing Virginia from your schedule. But the thing that about Indiana, if you want to focus on that for a second, is that no one gave a shit about their conference schedule last year before the year started. They only started to care once they were good enough to be in the playoff. You want to talk about easy schedules? Let's go take a gander at Penn State's real quick. Why don't you put on your goggles and go look at how they've been scheduling? They're not the only team that does it. We only just care because they took a spot away from a 3-loss SEC team. Am I supposed to feel bad about that?
Ohio State has had years like that too, that nobody's talked about, where they haven't had these problems.
If your scheduling philosophy is to never play hard games, that's kind of like a wussy way of going about it. But Indiana going 11-1 against their schedule, whether they play Virginia or not, if they go against 11-1 against their schedule this year, they're going to make the playoff again. Everybody who goes 11-1 in a power conference, for the most part, is going to make it in the 12-team field. So what are you complaining? Does Alabama, if they removed Wisconsin from their schedule last year and added Podunk State or whatever, made up place that people say is, it would have been the same exact result. In fact, if you would have put Texas, no, that's a bad, the realignment stuff. If you would have put Miami or Ohio State in place of Wisconsin on their schedule, and Alabama would have beaten Ohio State or Miami last year instead of beating Wisconsin, they might have still gotten in. It's the fact that their non-conference wasn't good enough to bolster them anymore. Making it weaker doesn't. The reason why Alabama didn't get in isn't because of their conference schedule; it's because they couldn't beat Oklahoma.
Simple as that.
It really is insane. This is all it's insane talking points that don't make any sense. When you really take a look back or take a step back and just look at it, it's the things that we are arguing about don't even make sense.
You also saw Nico Iamaleava at Big Ten Media Days. That's a weird sentence that I've not had to say before. He told you and other media members that he didn't transfer to UCLA over money. It was about family, even though if you've heard people like Adam Sparks talk about this, Nico's happiest times at Tennessee were when his family wasn't there, just kind of following his every move. So, make of that what you will. We all know what he's going to choose to say in that moment. But how much faith do you have in Nico to move past this and to be able to play at an all-conference type level. Like, do you think he can really go to UCLA and kind of be a difference maker that they very desperately need in year 2?
I mean, I think he's a good player. Like, I think that because all the stuff that happened to him, or he caused to have happened to him at Tennessee, happened, like that's like how people view him, and then we like rewrote history of like now he stinks. And I can't stand that we do that, because I know there's a lot of people out there that like resent the fact that he did try to strong arm Tennessee for more money and lost. But he's the one paying the consequences for that, right? Like, I mean, if he's making less money or is in a less advantageous position, like nobody anticipated what was he supposed to say at Big Ten Media Day? We had leverage. We thought we had leverage. We didn't. We tried to strong arm Tennessee and we lost money because of it. Now I'm at UCLA. Of course he's going to say whatever he said. But the number one thing with him is that his legacy is going to be written based on what he does there. Like, are you the greedy person that blew a terrible or a great situation and then wound up in a terrible place in your career, fizzled out? Or did you go to another place, show that you're one of the best players in the country, and is this a blip on your resume? Like, I don't know which one that is. The thing that, you have to say in regards to this is that, like, I'm not sure that UCLA is going to be a main fixture of the Big Ten race, regardless of how good he is. And I wonder, like, from that standpoint, if that's a good decision. But at the same time, too, if you look at NFL rosters, who are the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Patrick Mahomes, who went to Texas Tech. Aaron Rodgers went to Cal. Brock Purdy went to Iowa State. Who are
Josh Allen,
Wyoming? Josh Allen went to Wyoming. Like, it doesn't matter where you went to school. If you're a toolsy player who can throw the ball, 100 miles an hour downfield and, keep a good head on your shoulders, can evade pressure, and are super athletic, they're going to find you. So, like, I don't know if, like, Nico's, like, decision and how he's defined is based on how good he is at UCLA from, like, a winning standpoint. I think it's defined about whether or not he can still play himself onto the first day or two of the NFL draft and continue his career trajectory and in the same place that it was going to at Tennessee, because he's ultimately being judged for his behavior this offseason, whether or not that was a savvy financial move.
I love breakups. Breakups in college football have become a fascinating subject, and there's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. What is the best breakup to follow in college football this year? And I'll give you some choices here. You can pick from this.
Which one it is. You don't even have to tell me.
Go ahead.
Jackson Arnold in Oklahoma.
That was on the list. That was definitely the fact that they're facing off in their SEC opener too.
They're playing in Oklahoma. Yeah, the fact that the game is in Norman too. But what were your other choices? Just if
Nico in Tennessee has to be on that. Carson Beck in Georgia, obvious. Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma. Brian Kelly, Notre Dame. Those are not as topical, but they're still relevant.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the wild card, if you want to take a future, I know you're a gambling guy, the future breakup of Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson.
Who knows what they're going to – maybe they're really in love. I don't know.
That's not endgame.
I don't spend a lot of time in their bedroom with them. I don't know what's going on over there. The one thing I'll say about the Jordan Hudson Bill Belichick thing is that, like, I'm just not a TMZ person. Like, I don't give a crap about, like, who celebrities are dating and whatever. But the one thing I do know is that, like, you're not going to understand everybody else's relationship, and maybe Bill's getting something and she's getting something that makes it work for them. I don't know. I'm not going to, like, I know what everybody thinks, and maybe that's true, but, like, I'm not in the room with them. That is a wild card, and if it does happen, I don't think it would be a big deal, because then everybody would be like, okay, now we can watch North Carolina and have to think about a 24-year-old girl whose mom owns a sex shop. Like, I think that might actually be clearer for North Carolina. No, Jackson Arnold to me is the one, because Jackson Arnold's path is going to directly impact, like, two coaching futures, right?
True.
Like, if Jackson Arnold is bad, then Hugh Freeze is going to be in trouble, and if he's great, then Auburn is good, and Brent Venables is going to be in trouble. And then if he goes out and rocks the game out in Norman and they win, like, my daughter's birthday party is that day, because my wife schedules things without asking me, and like, I'm devastated because I wanted to go to that. I was going to drive up. It's only a few hours from me, and I'm really upset about it. But that to me is the most. If I could pick one game, like, in terms of, like, narrative to be at or to be locked in for right now, obviously Ohio State, Michigan, and certain games like that, all of Penn State's big games stand out, but, like, that one to me, because it's like, was it Jackson Arnold's fault last year? Like, do we know that? Like, they're pinning it on him, but what if he's a 5-star player? What if he's awesome?
It could be his fault. It could be the surroundings.
I don't know that. Did he get a fair shake? His entire receiver room was injured, and their offensive line sucked. How do we know he's not good? How do we know he's not great? We don't know. Maybe he stinks. I don't know, but we don't know that. And he's going to a place that desperately needs a quarterback more than anything, and he's going to Norman in the first game of the SEC schedule. That is like Bachelor in Paradise juice right there. That is good.
3-hour episode of Bachelor in Paradise.
By the way, I watch that show every week with my wife and her friends. It's an electric show. You should check it out if you don't watch it.
I've checked it out in the past. I used to be big into the Bachelor world. It's fallen off the last few years. I think that show peaked.
It's not the same. But I don't know if you're like me, but I am so football all the time that it's nice to take a break from it for a while. I like watching mindless, stupid television sometimes. We watch what's that other show about the Mormon girls? Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Check it out. Very juicy, very good. It's on Hulu. I'm kind of into these sort of things. I'm not embarrassed to admit it.
They align it with the football offseason too, with The Bachelor and The Bachelor in Paradise. Bachelor in Paradise now gets into the season a little bit more than they used to, but the whole reason people like us watch those shows is because it could be on a Monday night when it's not football season.
Yeah, well, the thing that sucks about it is that I love Monday Night Football, and it does go into the fall. So we have girls over to my house every Monday. All my wife's friends come over, and I'm the only dude watching it because, of course, I am. But during the football season, I'll have an iPad open with Monday Night Football on. The thing about Bachelor in Paradise is you don't really need to be locked in. It's not like you're watching The Godfather. You can just look away for a minute and listen to it's not that intensive to pay attention to. So I do both, and it feels good. Yeah, I'm sorry I just ruined the last 5 minutes of your show,
but Jackson Arnold in Oklahoma, that is the correct answer, because Nico and Tennessee don't play each other. Carson Beck in Georgia, not scheduled to play each other. Now, if they play each other in the playoff, all right, that's something. But Zach Mettenberger and facing Georgia, that game 2013, that LSU Georgia game, that was so awesome. Those types of games are rare to get that, and the fact that we're getting it this year in the SEC opener like that,
and it will be great. At Norman, I think, is the cherry on top. And it's Nico is going to be a fascinating story to watch, but UCLA is not a contender. So it's even if they go 8-4. How much do you really think, which would be a good year for them probably, how much are you really, you're not that talking about them that much, and also too with Nico, this is probably the most heavy the quarterback position has been in college football in a long time.
I agree.
If you go down the list of starting quarterbacks in the Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and ACC, Darian Mensah is just at Duke. If you just go around and look at it, there are really interesting, good quarterbacks literally everywhere. So that one doesn't really move the needle as much for me as some of the other ones. But Jackson Arnold holding the fate of two coaches in his hands, I think is quite fascinating. And the fact that we get to see it up close and personal in Norman, no question, that's the answer.
I know you're following the Deion situation pretty closely on Tuesday. I think there were certain people that if they were Deion haters, they were thinking he was being performative with all of this and, not being on campus for several months. And then watching that press conference play out the way that he did, talking about his cancer and being flanked by doctors, even to me, it was maybe as human as Deion Sanders has ever felt in his entire life. What did you make of the way that he went about that and what it kind of means for his future as a coach?
I knew he was in rough shape because you don't spend 2 months or whatever, or 3 months in Dallas when you're the head coach of Colorado. I thought that was I'm not going to pretend I knew the extent of it, but I knew something had to be up. You can't just spend time in Dallas or far away from your program like that in an off season. And human, I think is an interesting way of looking at it. I think that it was the single most impactful thing he's done at Colorado so far in terms of, talking to a lot of people in multiple communities who look up to him and, reiterating the importance of, maintaining your health and getting checkups and physicals and things like that. Even for me, I said on our show, I don't get physicals every year. Do you? It's important.
Nope.
And health scares and things like that happen, out of nowhere. And it's scary, but it does. So first of all, I'm happy he's okay. I've had my Deion takes, and, at times I've criticized the way that he's gone about doing certain things, but from a human to human standpoint, certainly happy he's okay. certainly happy he's still in our game. And one of the things that is most fascinating to me about it is that during his first 2 years at Colorado, you could have come up with 25 different reasons why he might not be the head coach in year 3. He's not recruiting high school enough. He's trying a quick fix. His kid's gone. Travis Hunter's gone. There were a lot of speculation about his commitment to Colorado and being a coach. And it's like, shit, man. Like, if he's a coach through this, we're talking about somebody who's accomplished everything in life, has more money than he knows what to do with. This is a terrible thing to have to go through and maintain your status as a coach. If you ever want to question Deion Sanders' buy-in as Colorado's coach, I think those questions are probably out the window. So, very thankful for him to be that open and vulnerable, because people don't like talking about their health scenarios, and he was actually comedic about it, which I thought was strong. I thought that he had a strong message for the community in terms of maintaining their health and getting checkups, and certainly happy he's okay and still in our game.
Yeah, if you question Deion's commitment, see the porta potty that's going to be on the sideline, and a decked out porta potty.
And only Deion Sanders could have made jokes about not being able to control the pee. He made it seem cool almost. But those are the realities of it when you go through something that serious, man. I can't even imagine. So kudos to him for making it through, and kudos for him for having a strong message to people that needed to hear it.
Last one for you. I know you're pretty shook up by the news, so I don't want to sound disrespectful. Mr. Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But better known as Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
The arrest in Tallahassee. Yeah, Charles.
The rat.
Yeah, the rat. Tough look for a brand that you've supported. My daughter's 2, so I know the day is coming in which I will be wolfing down Chuck E. Cheese pizza at a birthday party or something like that. Just tell me, as someone that's never had this, again, I'm going to defer to you on these subjects of food items that I have never had. But if you're given a choice, giving you a plate, Ari, filet of fish, Chuck E. Cheese pizza, which one are you picking?
Probably filet of fish. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world, and it's terrible for you. And I've been trying really hard to lose weight, and that's been off the menu for a while. Here's what I'll say. I'm like you. You have a 2-year-old. My daughter's 3. We went to a birthday party at Mr. Cheese's establishment here a few months ago, and they put the pizza out there, and you're an adult. You don't go to Chuck E. Cheese ever, right? And I'm like, oh God, they're gonna put this cardboard shit out there, and we're gonna have to eat it. And I took a bite of it. It legitimately is pretty good pizza. I don't know if you do Uber Eats or Grubhub often, but Chuck E. Cheese is an option for pizza. And I used to think to myself, what kind of loser is getting Chuck E. Cheese delivered to their house? If they don't have kids, who's doing this? And I will tell you, Connor, straight up, there is way worse pizza out there. They have garlic crust. They do. It was pretty good. It's a shame they had to do my man like that and arrest him the way that they did. But the rat slang some pretty good pizza. And when you do go, and you will, you're probably 6 months away. Because have you started the birthday party circuit yet, where you're going to a birthday party every week?
We're not there. Once she hits, I feel 2.5 to 3. That's when it's really gonna start popping up.
It certainly matters if she's in daycare, because
she is, yeah.
So if she's in daycare and you meet the parents and she creates her first friends, we have a birthday party what feels like every weekend, dude. And we've been to every kid establishment in the city of Dallas, and we finally went to Chuck E. Cheese, and it was a perfect place to have a birthday party because it has a jungle gym and all the arcade games, and 3-year-olds, they love it. And they put the pizza out there, and I was very surprised by the quality of it. I'm not saying I'm going to go get the rat delivered, but
maybe,
I understand why somebody would now if your options are, some other local crappy place or whatever. The problem with pizza, Connor, and you know this, is there are a lot of options and most of it is terrible. And bad pizza is still edible because it's pizza, but the amount of terrible pizza places that remain in existence because it's pizza, is staggering. Truly good pizza is hard to find. It's kind of like the college football playoff. It's you have 7 joints a city that are national championship worthy, and then everybody else is 8-4. And it's well, it's football. I enjoy watching it. You do have some, 2-10 teams down there, but for the most part, most teams are middle grade 9-3, 8-4 pizzas. And I think the rat's in there somewhere, but I thought the rat would have been at the bottom.
The rat, 8-4 Iowa, same thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And by the way, I've been meaning to tell you this. If your guilty pleasure songs draft pick Bedchem drops in 1995, it's the song of the year for the instrumentals alone, and people don't give it enough credit.
Yeah, no, that song is intoxicating. And also too, if you're a girl dad at the age of 2, like, you know how I discovered this woman? Because I was like, I like rap music, okay, and it's not the most friendly type of music to be listening with a toddler in the car. So I'm like, well, what are the Taylor Swift type things out there that I could listen to and like are just easy listening? It's catchy and my daughter can get into it. And I was like, oh, everyone's talking about Sabrina Carpenter. And I'm like, okay, I'll play these songs. And, we're driving. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. And then you start listening to the things that are coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
Like, rap isn't such a bad option. Like, they are sexual as hell and like raunchy as hell. Like, that is not children's music. So don't play Sabrina Carpenter for your daughter, because I made that mistake. And now like my daughter's hooked on songs that are very, very like X-rated type lyric type songs.
Yeah, there are some that once
you know that going in, I didn't know that going in. I
hear the beat. You're just like, hey, this is pretty good. She's really talented.
You'd say something, I'm like, what did she just say? like it was just because it sounds like Taylor Swift type music, right? Like stuff that you would hear on the radio that you would hear at a little girl's birthday party, but like the content of the music is really, really raunchy. And
that's why it's guilty pleasure song.
It's fine if you like that, go for it. I like that stuff, but like not for a kid. That's how I found out about her.
You just got to play the instrumental version of that song.
Yeah. Good. Or the edited version if they even have those. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. Probably not. Ari, this has been great. Be well. We'll do it again soon, man.
Yeah, anytime, buddy. Take care.